Welcome to the Digital Pen Pals podcast. This is episode 1 of a new podcast that we're doing. We're going to be releasing it once a week every Monday. Hi, I'm Tux Bodai, or Lincoln. You can find me at twitch.tv/TuxBodai or TikTok at TuxDraws. And I have here my co-host.
Hello, my name is Zach Shirts. Nice to meet you guys. I'm also a streamer and artist. I stream at twitch.tv wait, what is it? Is it .tv slash Zach _shirts. And I'm also on TikTok as well. Just Zach Shirts, no space. So yeah, here we are with the first episode. It's very exciting, isn't it?
I'm so excited. And also you can find those socials in whatever description wherever you're listening to this. Just for ease sake, because maybe I said it too fast or something, or maybe we messed up. Anyways, tell me a little bit about yourself, Zach. Who are you?
Yeah, who am I? So I'm an artist up front. I've always been since I was pretty much like a little kid. But yeah, I've always dreamt of doing YouTube and doing content creation and stuff alongside art. So I went to school at BYU, Idaho in Rexburg, and I graduated recently this year in July. And I got my bachelor's degree in the arts. Studying illustration was my emphasis. And yeah, I love to do character designs. I love to do all sorts of things with art. I'm mostly digital, but I do like to dabble in like sculpting and doing things like that. I just love doing creative things. And so yeah, that's kind of my who I am. I love to be creative, and yeah, doing stuff like this, making a podcast and everything is right up my alley. And well, what about you, Tux? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm an artist, streamer, content creator, whatever the term is these days, as well. I'm a 22-year-old artist first and foremost. I'm a little less experienced than Zach. I did 1 semester at a community college in art classes, and then COVID decided to rain on my parade and ruined all my lab classes. So I only learned a bit about perspective and such, but I've been doing some further learning through some useful books and through online courses and wonderful friends such as Zach. But I stream on Twitch. I kind of blew up on TikTok a hot minute ago. I'm going strong at 17K on there, and I'm really happy about that. And Twitch has been doing good as well. And I fostered this awesome Twitch community, and you guys are the best.
Yeah, I've been following your lead on that. I mean, you're the one that really has been pushing me to keep pursuing Twitch and everything, and things are going for me not as quickly as they had for you, but yeah, definitely you kind of pioneered a path for me to kind of I guess like align myself to, and yeah, Tux really knows what he's doing, and yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that us smaller creators should grow together. So if you'd like to join the community, welcome. You're already here. But that kind of brings us to like how me and Zach met. So I started a job recently at a marketing company, and I told my coworker that I started doing streaming and content creation and all that jazz, and he said, "Oh, well, this guy that used to work here, Zach, he has a YouTube channel, and he's at BYU right now. He's learning art." And I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm learning art, and this guy sounds super rad." So I stalked Zach.
You stalked me?
I stalked you. Yeah, I watched your
gosh.
YouTube videos. I was like, "Ooh, this guy's pretty cool." And I'm like, maybe I'll get to meet him one day. And then I got to meet him one day. He started working back there, and then it's history from there. We just kind of hit it off really fast. We get along really well. At least I'd like to think so. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, we got this podcast, but without that, I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
we
I'm
kind of
just
get in
kidding.
fist fights all the time.
No, no, that's good. Yeah, like I heard about. Wait, what do you want me to call you? You want me to call you Tux?
You can call me Tux or Lincoln, whatever
Okay,
works.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm used to online identities. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So anyway, like I heard about Lincoln as well because our similar coworker was saying like, hey, you need to meet Lincoln. He's also an artist. He's going to school, and I was thinking, oh no, our boss hired another guy who's going to school, and I was kind of worried about that because I was like, well, he'll be there and then he'll be gone, and then just like me, back and forth over, every 6 months I'd be going back to school and then coming back to work full time for them again. Um, but yeah, no, it was a different situation. And so now it's since, everything happened this year in 2020, it's been like a really good moment for us to kind of step back and really, like me personally, and I'm sure for Lincoln as well, just to really assess what we really want to do in our lives and what things we could do this year that would really jumpstart our careers that we really want. And so I think we've both been doing a really good job at pursuing those and working really hard. And yeah, it's been awesome to get to know Lincoln too, and to see his drive and to, see his motivation to be successful. And I think that's like an awesome, amazing thing. And it's definitely something that's contagious. And I think that's what a lot of people might, see in Lincoln is on stream and stuff, is just feeling that motivation and desire and drive to create things. And I think that's what really cultivates like a really creative mindset with a lot of the viewers there. And
I'm blushing. Stop.
Sorry, did I compliment you too much?
Yes, I'm blushing. That's one thing I love about content creation so much is the community aspect and meeting all sorts of friends and like-minded people, because most of us artists, I don't know if you had a similar experience, but growing up, like, it was hard to find other people in similar art interest and and such, and so you kind of felt like the black sheep, and you kind of felt like left out and such, and you're like whatever, and it can get discouraging. But now with the internet, like, you can just find so many people that are like
you can
so like-minded,
find
and it's
any
phenomenal.
little segment of people, any little niche of people that love one specific thing, and there's a community for it.
It's awesome. The internet is a fantastic tool for spreading love. And honestly, if you're an aspiring content creator, just put a camera on yourself, start making content, and you will find your community, and your community will find you. And if you just keep making stuff, you will grow.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, and
So
I think that kind of like segues a little bit into like what we want this podcast to be. Like, why are we doing this podcast? And the main idea was like, this came from, I believe it was your idea originally, right?
yeah, I had done a podcast with a buddy, but it was really unstructured. I removed them all from my YouTube. Maybe one day I'll put them back on. But they were just really us just talking about whatever we wanted a week and putting it on the internet. And it was fun, but it was just getting too busy, and they were like hour long. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I getting into more art and finding success on TikTok and Twitch, the small success that I had, I thought, oh, well, it's high time I do a podcast. And so I was reaching out to my artist friends, and I think the most interested out of all of them was Zach. And I love Zach's work, and he's an awesome guy, and just an all-around great person, good friend. And so we're like, let's send it. Let's do this podcast.
Yeah, I know as soon as you told me, I was like, holy crap, when are we doing this? And you're like, oh, I got some projects going on, but maybe like, I don't know, like maybe a while from now. And I was like, no, I really want to do this like really bad, because this is exactly the kind of thing that I've really like, a collaborative piece of work. Because like up until now, we've been doing our own like TikToks. We've talked to each other and stuff, and talked behind the scenes about like the things that we're doing, like doing Twitch and things like that. And we've been pursuing those things individually. And I really wanted to do something that was collaborative, because I think it would really help me feel like, with both of our efforts put into one thing, I think we could make something that's really awesome. And I think that just like helps inspire me too, to be like, maybe think of things differently, or I don't know, just inspire me more to make my own content on the side as well. But I think like having something together kind of is like a nice little breather moment from, working hard on trying to be artists and stuff, and be able to kind of, remember that we're all in this together, and that we can achieve a lot more together than on our own. And so I think that's what the podcast is for, is to bring to light a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff, and a lot of things that might help other content creators or artists or whatever you might be into to achieve like your dreams and stuff. I think that's like the main goal.
And I've found that like just working with someone else is just so positive, and like it's someone to keep you accountable. It's someone to give you deadlines, because you can give yourself so many deadlines, but sometimes you'll be bad at them. Like doing goals and such is like a difficult thing on your own. So it's good to have another person to share your progress with. It's good to have another person to keep you accountable, no matter how different you guys are. Like I always feel like Zach's at a so much higher level than me in art, but we're both, at the end of the day, we're both content creators. We're both in this together, and anything that's good for me is good for him, as far as as long as we're collaborating and such.
Right. Yeah. Um, and I think what we're planning on doing with this podcast is eventually being able to expand it to like more interesting, like maybe I guess activities or things we can do on the podcast. But the main thing is we've been discussing about interviewing, as podcasts do, interview people, keep things variety, and keeps information coming through the podcast. But we want to be able to interview some people that me and Lincoln know, because between us we know I feel like at least like 50 people or something that are either small content creators, or they're large, or they're just people that have worked in the industry, as such as I know a few of my professors, which hopefully maybe I could get them on the podcast in the future. That's just a dream, but they've worked on with like DreamWorks and other really big corporations, and it might give like a different kind of insight to things. So I think that's kind of like what I'm excited for, is to learn from other people, and we're learning, but you're also listening along with us, so you're able to absorb this kind of information, and maybe some key principles that will help you be even more successful than we might ever be, I guess.
Yeah, and that's one thing I felt I always had a hard time with getting into art is, where do I start, or like what do I do when this happens, and sometimes the internet just doesn't answer it all. So I want to be able to answer those questions, not just this is how you draw this, or this is the best way to learn to draw this, but like, hey, I want to get into doing art for mobile games. Cool. Like, we interviewed a guy that does mobile games, or hey, we interviewed a developer of mobile games, and here's a video of him talking about how he finds his artists and what he looks for in artists. And I think it would be super awesome to get people on like that are in the industry, and in every industry that has to do with art, which I would argue is every single industry ever, to be like, hey, let's like, what's your perspective of the art, even if they're not necessarily an artist. I think that would be super fascinating for
Oh
me,
yeah.
and for you guys as well.
Oh yeah. Like, I think anyone who is, I mean, because creativity, like, you could say, oh, I'm an artist, but like, if you kind of expand that definition, I mean, because being an artist kind of maybe is sort of, even though it's not like a small niche, it's like kind of it's still kind of like a separate branch of being creative. And I think it's the same tree. Uh, Creatives just want to make things, and making art is like a specific thing that we do as things we enjoy. We like creating artwork, and some people love woodworking or something, and that's their medium, I guess, for making or being creative in general. And so I think it will be really interesting to get a diverse opinions from other people from other different backgrounds, and hopefully, being that with the internet and how things are now, it's so nice to be able to use technology to be able to communicate with each other. Because me and Tux right now, or Lincoln, sorry, I don't know, I keep switching between the two. You'll have to
No
forgive
worries.
me. Uh, but we're remotely recording this podcast right now, which is kind of the blessing of technology, and I think that will really help a lot with being able to interview multiple people from whenever, wherever, kind of a thing. So when or wherever they are, we can communicate with them, and do these little interviews, even though it's maybe not be in person, but maybe in the future. I don't know. But for now,
Yeah.
like, it's really convenient for both me and Lincoln, because we have like our whole setup at home with our mics and everything that we use to stream and make content, and so it's just more convenient for us to record this way, but inefficient because we're so busy doing our own thing. I don't know about you,
Yeah, and I'm
but
just
we're
excited to
busy.
excited. I'm excited to see what doors doing a podcast, or putting ourselves out there kind of opens, because we're making TikTok, we're making all sorts of content every day, but people don't really necessarily get the chance to just sit and listen to us talk about whatever we do. And if you made it this far, then obviously you'd like to hear what we have to say.
Right.
And through Twitch and TikTok, we're kind of on Twitch. I see myself almost like as an entertainer. Like, I'm streaming, and I'm supposed to be entertaining everybody, and I'm supposed to be having a good time for myself, but it's like a performance almost. And on TikTok, it's like, let's catch someone's attention for 15 seconds and see what we can do. So we don't necessarily get the chance to have these sorts of conversations about the struggles in art, the fun thing, rewarding things in art, and the deeper things that take a hot minute to talk about.
Right. Yeah, like, I completely agree. Like, TikTok is the you just want attention. You're just seeking for the 10 minutes of fame kind of thing. And Twitch, I mean, any content you make, you do, because I've listened to a lot of other content creators on YouTube. I love learning from other people that I'm subscribed to. They'll sometimes mention it. I love it when they get open and they share, which is why I wanted to do the podcast. Is if I had enjoyed and learned something from some other content creator, I would like to do the same for other people, and give them kind of a peek see into our how our minds work, or what we think about, or how we think about things. And for there's certain parts of our personality that work, like, I guess you could say, like, in quotations, on camera, that we are ourselves on camera, but we do kind of accentuate sometimes some things that are like, oh well, I like doing voices, let's say, or something every once in a while, but then you do it like more extreme on camera because it's you're trying to put on entertainment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be the difference of me and you just hanging out and talking and like going out for lunch or something, and compared to us hanging out with a big group of friends. That's kind of how I see Twitch.
Yeah, like it's like a different it's a different side of yourself, I guess, which can be a really good thing. It brings out some different aspects to you that maybe you didn't even know about. Like I've been practicing trying to talk to the camera since, like, for like 2, 3, maybe even 4 years at this point. Even before that, and when I was little, or younger, I grew up in the days where YouTube was very fresh. Like, Fred was like kind of the big thing.
Fred.
Yeah, hey, it's Fred. But
I loved Fred.
yeah, I grew up on that kind of YouTube where it wasn't really a career. It wasn't like a career option, but I always wanted to do it because I thought it'd be so cool to be able to have an audience and to make stuff and kind of feel that satisfaction of putting something out there that people will enjoy. And I started making, like, YouTube content on, like, an old YouTube channel, and I kind of copied, like, the format of Fred a little bit, but I, like, made my own character. And I learned how to do, like, some basic video editing in, like, Windows Movie Maker at the time. So very primitive software and stuff, but I was able to achieve, quite a bit for, like, being like 14 or 15 years old. And I did that for, like, a number of years. And then when I came back before college, and I started to realize that, my second year of college, I was like, I want to still do YouTube. Like, that's still kind of a, dream in the back burner for me. And I was like, I could still do that, but how? And then I realized I could use the platform for my art content and things like that. And so I started slowly recording myself, and it felt weird because I was like, okay, now I'm not a character, but I'm myself on camera. But what does that mean to me? And what things about me are not working on camera? And how do I not be awkward? How do I be confident? And, over the years, I feel like I've been able to develop that, especially streaming for hours on end. It's really got me comfortable being in front of camera and being able to stare inside a lens and be able to realize that there's people behind that lens that I'm talking to. And
now, would you say that's like one of your biggest struggles as getting into content creation, was just kind of putting yourself out there?
I think kind of like at first it's like, if you have a passion for it, I think that's the first step, because that obviously you don't have any drive, you're not going to get yourself to do the things you need to, because no one's going to be telling you to do it. But yeah, for me, I think the biggest the hardest part is just the learning curve, because you feel like in your head you have a vision, especially as, like, us visionary people, like, with we're very visual. I, like, envision something before I make it, and I'm like, okay, this YouTube video or something's going to turn out like this. And then I go and do that thing, and then it just doesn't turn out the way I thought. And, you can get kind of distraught. But the problem is, it's like your mind can see high quality stuff, but you're not able to produce that yet because you don't know what you don't know. And it just takes a lot of work. And sometimes it's a lot more work than you think. You're like, oh, I'm going to do a simple YouTube video. But then it takes, like, hours to edit it and to record it. And, maybe there was a mistake and you have to go back and re-record something. And it kind of becomes a nightmare. But if you keep pushing through that, every time you do something, it becomes more efficient, and you're eventually able to just, make what you want when you want, and bam, it's there. But yeah, I would definitely agree that, like, that would be, like, the biggest and hardest part for me when I first started making content.
I'd say one of the hardest things for me starting out was I would get very embarrassed by things I'd put out. Like,
yeah.
I would literally, like, make videos. I'd make content and I'd make stuff, and I'd record it, I'd edit it, and of course it wouldn't look like the vision that I envisioned, as things always do not. And I have something to add on that too as well, after I talk about this. But But I'd make the videos and then I'd watch them myself and I'd be like, I spent 3 hours on this. And then I'd be like, this is embarrassing. And then I'd just delete it. Like I wouldn't even like save it or
No,
like
you just deleted it?
or just like post it and not look at it, but I would just
Oh,
delete
okay.
it because I was so embarrassed.
Oh,
And
man.
I was just like, I don't like how this turned out. And I think the first time I kind of started getting over that was like at the beginning of 2020. I started making Minecraft YouTube videos with my buddy. We were just playing Minecraft and posting it. It was really like, I'd say, low quality content. And I challenged myself to post once a day for 2 whole months. And that
Dang.
was a terrible 2 months. I was so tired. And that was when I had just first gotten my job at where we currently work,
And did you
the
like
marketing
edit
company.
it at all, or was it just kind of like you just recorded the raw things and put them together and
It was semi-edited. I mean, it was cut up. It would take me like we'd sit down and record sessions, and then I'd edit it into like 10-minute clips of us just playing, just the exciting part. So there wasn't any boring downtime, but it was. I was still learning how to almost put myself out there, and I'd post them, and I like wouldn't look at the comments, I wouldn't look at how they did, and then I started looking at the analytics, and I'd get warmed up to it, and then I got all into that and researching like, oh, what kind of tags do I need to put, or like how do I make my video place better? How do I do this and that? And then I had a video do fairly well. It got like 3,000 views, and that blew my mind. I
dang.
was like, 3,000 people watch my video? That's
I've never
insane.
even got 3,000 views on YouTube. That's insane.
And it was just a dumb Minecraft video.
Well, Minecraft
and
sells,
so
right? Just like Pokemon.
and so then I kind of stopped doing YouTube for a hot minute because I had this cool video idea and I did it and I recorded it and I like spent money on it and it just didn't turn out and I didn't post it and I kind of got distraught like you said, and then I stopped doing YouTube. But then eventually I like just bought a drawing tablet for myself. And then I saw TikTok was popular and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try this. So I opened up TikTok and I just pointed my camera at my drawing tablet and I just started making stuff. And it just like got attention and it just worked. And so I started just doing things that I was just like, you know what? This seems like it's successful in the platform, but I'm not necessarily used to doing this. I wouldn't say I was uncomfortable with it, but it was things that I was like, this is not normal for me, but we're going to try it because it works and it seems like fun.
Right.
And here I am now, and things are doing great, and it's led to this. And so I'm really happy with how it turned out, and it turned into Twitch, and it's been an awesome journey. But it was really hard for me at first to do that.
Right. Yeah.
But it was rewarding getting over that. I'd say that was my hardest struggle as a content creator.
Yeah, I think it's hard because like, it is like a highly rewarding stuff to do because like I would like to say that it's a highly rewarding career, but we're like I feel like we're still not in that point yet. We're not really at the point where we can say that it's our job because we have to have full-time
Yeah, we
jobs
still have full
outside of
times
this.
pretty much.
Yeah, and so, until that day we can maybe say that, but as of right now it's just like it is very rewarding though. You work so hard, but like it just proves the point that it's something that you're passionate about and it's something that's giving you a lot of fulfillment because, we keep doing it. We stream like I had some streams where I'd stream for 8 hours and I'm like, dude, I'm dead. But then, the next day I'd go back on stream and it's like, well, I guess I like it then. I guess it's rewarding because then you start to see some progress and you have to kind of it's definitely like a shot in the dark. You have to just kind of rely on a little bit on faith and be like, well, I'm going to try really hard because I feel like there's no way that my effort won't be received or I'm not going to get something for my effort because there has to be something. There has to be some sort of um like I'm giving so much input, there should be an output at least for me. And so I feel like that's finally starting to happen for me as I'm taking it more seriously because throughout the years I would post videos on my YouTube channel and they get some views and I get so excited because I work so hard and long on them, but then I would kind of get distraught just like you said and like the
You
idea
just see
of like
nothing from it, and it's like, oh man.
yeah, so it would feel like I put so much effort in the output, like the response to it wasn't as big as I was hoping because I'm like, there's no way, like this is quality content, come on. And it kind of went like that for a while, and then I started to try to post more frequently, and I kept saying I'm going to do videos a week and I'm going to just post stuff and not like work too hard on them. But every time I sit down and do a YouTube video, I always go overboard and I always like go too detailed in the editing, which I mean it's good quality,
See, I
but
did
like
the opposite of that.
really,
Yeah, when I
yeah,
did my Minecraft stuff, my strategy was the exact opposite because I knew that was my mindset, and I said I'm not gonna do this
oh
time.
man, yeah, and so like
But it's
just
hard
throughout
as an
the
artist.
yeah, and throughout the years, it's just like I felt like I was like maybe this won't happen. I don't know, and I just kind of kept posting every couple months, whatever, on YouTube, and it eventually started to like be good, and I finally reached over 100 followers, or I guess subscribers. I'm used to saying followers now because of Twitch and
It's
TikTok,
different on every website.
yeah, but finally reached a certain point where I'm like, okay, cool, this is awesome, but that was like so many years of work to get to just like 100, and it just seemed insane. um but yeah, now that I've experienced TikTok, thanks to you for pushing me to do that, and I realized it gave me it well, TikTok. I mean, we'll probably make a whole separate podcast on each individual platform, but for me, just in summary, like TikTok really taught me about the short version of making content, and to just make content without really caring per se, like still trying to make good content, but like just post it every time you do something. It doesn't have to be the best thing in the world, because you post 10 TikToks, one of them is going to maybe go viral or be successful, and the other 9 are going to flop. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm starting to switch gears and realize like, hey, I'm going to take what I've learned here and go to YouTube and then try to grow the social media platforms that I want to grow. And so that's what makes me excited, is experiencing other media platforms and taking what I learned and adapting it to other social media platforms, which is interesting.
And I'm so glad we're saying like all this recorded because, right, we've said this stuff to each other
Oh
pretty much
yeah.
before, and I've said it to my family members and telling them how rewarding it can be to just get a random message from someone and say, hey, thank you for your tutorial on TikTok. That was super helpful. And like just something simple like that is just the most rewarding thing ever. Or, like seeing other artists that are like a lot better than I am saying like, hey, the video you made really helped me. Or like, hey, I really like the stuff you're putting out. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing and you're a lot better than me, so you should be the one giving me advice. But it's crazy. But it's hard as artists because we have like really good taste, right? I forget who said this. I saw this quote the other day, but as artists we have really good taste, but we don't know how to execute it, and we're not good yet. And while we improve, our taste gets better, and so it kind of outpaces that. And so we make stuff and we look at it, we say this isn't good enough, and then we get discouraged, and then we'll either quit or we keep going.
Right.
But it's really interesting having all this recorded because it'll be like an interesting journal to look back at, because I feel like not a lot of creators talk much about how when they were small content creators, or at least when they do, they're at a point from when they're a big content creator, so their view on it can kind of be blurred. Because as a small content creator, even going from like where I was when I was around like 2,000 to 3,000 followers, I like jumped up to 10K on TikTok super fast, and it was like almost overnight or a few days. Like when something goes viral, your account kind of just blows up. Like before, it was unfathomable to me how people got millions and millions of followers and all these numbers, but seeing a video go viral right in front of my face it was crazy to watch. Just this astronomical amount of people hitting that like button, commenting, following, just all on the notification thing, and then it'll slow down, and they'll still trickle in, and then you kind of just have all these viral videos that accrue followers, and it's really interesting to see. It's really interesting to see.
Yeah, like I just recently was able to finally get a video that got like, I mean, I've been able to be successful and get like a video to like 60 or 20,000 views, which is for me kind of like it, like 1,000 to like 20,000 is I would consider viral for me. But I got a video to get to like 106. I think it's almost to 160,000 views with like 30,000 likes. So like the like to view ratio is different for every video, but that was like the best one. Most views, most likes, and even just ratio honestly is like the best too. So for me to see that too, and to have I gained a lot of followers from that on TikTok, and just yeah, it was like an aha moment. Realized like, oh, so you mean it could happen to anyone? Like you always think that like, oh, it can happen to anyone, it can happen to me, but like
Yeah,
you
like
almost
I always
don't
thought you
believe
had to
it.
be like a special breed. You have to be pretty, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to be super talented. Everything has to be perfect. Has to be a perfect storm, but yeah, it can just happen to anybody. You just have to be consistent and making useful stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's so funny because there's like a lot of complex moving pieces to like doing content creation and like trying to be an artist online and stuff like that. But the honest truth is it's so simple. Like you just be consistent and you post whatever content you can, even if it's just reposting. Like I just make a lot of TikToks based on artwork that I already have made, and sometimes I'll even remake some TikToks. And if people comment like, "Oh, how do you do this?" And I was like, "Oh, I already made a tutorial," but I'll reply to them and make a similar TikTok tutorial on this art subject or whatever. And it's just a matter of time. Like you have to realize like people aren't gonna notice. It's almost like people aren't gonna notice you until you have so much content that they can't ignore you. And I feel like that's
Exactly.
that's exactly what we have to do as people trying to make it online. You just have to have a big network of content on multiple platforms, and eventually something's going to happen, something's going to get found, and people are going to be, oh my gosh, who's this person? Then they go look at your old content, and bam, like it just starts going up from there. So I think it just takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it's like you're putting an investment into something.
Yeah, and it just occurs and occurs and occurs. I feel like I've had the same experience with so many people that I'm following on TikTok and like content creators that I like now. Like I remember hearing about like small Minecraft YouTubers when they were like early, or like I remember when Dream, the Minecraft YouTuber, he like exploded. But I remember seeing like his first bigger videos about like cursed Minecraft things, and I saw the thumbnail and I'm like, what the heck is this clickbait? I'm like, whatever. And then like another one pops up and I was like, what's this? And it's like this next video and the next video, and then now he's like blown up so fast, and it's like he just was pumping out a lot of stuff at a good pace and at good quality. And I now he can't be ignored. Now like all my younger sibling loves Dream, and he always talks about him, and a few of my fans really like Dream too, and it's inescapable. And so it's kind of like that with content. If you just keep making good stuff, people will show up. And if it's not, if you people aren't showing up at the beginning, like it will happen, and it could take years. Like look at so many content creators out there that were doing just normal stuff for so many years, and then they got one spotlight and they ran with that spotlight and they ran the wave, and they said, hey, I'm worth watching, watch me, I'm worth watching. And they they kept making content, and now they're at millions of people, and they have all these subscribers, and it's their full-time thing now, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fallacy that people get stuck on, is they see big content creators and they go, this is what I need to do. I need to stream exactly like these people are streaming. When instead, it's like, no, just make what you're good at. You don't have to try everything. You don't have to do everything. Just make what you're good at. Keep doing that, and people will
Right.
like you.
Yeah, I think starting off, like, I mean, this is the first podcast after all, so I mean, talking about starting off and like, setting those kind of goals and stuff for yourself is that like you have to start with what you know, and you start with what you have. I mean, a lot of times like, and I've been guilty of this many times, and I'm sure anyone who's going to be starting content creation will do this, and I think it's fine to an extent, but definitely don't go overboard and think you have to have like all the proper equipment or all the proper things, or be to a certain level that you're just not. Because like I said, with starting like my channel like long ago on my old YouTube channel, like I just made stupid stuff, and I just made what I knew. I knew how to just like kind of like mess around with my friends and make up weird stories and stuff, and I had a camera, and I worked with what I had. It was even my parents' camera, so it's just whatever you have, just start doing that. And don't your expectations kind of are split into two parts, where it's like realistic and like your dreams. And so a lot of times, like you were saying, Lincoln, how you just deleted stuff because in your head it was way better, but now that you watched it, you're like, oh gosh, that's a lot of cringe right there. And so it's kind of hard. You do have to kind of swallow your pride a little bit, because you're like, honestly, this might not be the viral video that I have, but it's another step closer to that dream, to the viral video that I want to create. And so I think being able to understand your realistic ideas in your head, or the reality versus like the things you see in your head, sometimes you have to like correlate with that, and setting those kind of goals.
Just a long pause.
I was like, wait, what happened? I was like,
Yes,
I was
I
gonna say
got
something. I was
disconnected.
like, maybe something's going wrong. I was like confused for a second.
No. Yeah, I agree. Goals are like a huge part, and um, yeah, like I think goals are like if you have goals for yourself and you have goals for your content, like that's I think that's one of the first steps to making content is not necessarily I'm gonna hit this many followers or I'm gonna get this many subscribers or I'm gonna get this many views on the video. Your goals should be more like, okay, let's make 3 videos that I think are quality videos, or let's follow 3 trends this week and make 3 of my own videos and then 3 videos about art. When I was really going hard on TikTok and I need to kick up my game again so I can uh, get back in gear and such. But
Same.
I need to. What I was doing initially is I was sitting down and I'd be like, "Okay, let's do 2 videos this week, following just whatever trends on TikTok, and try and incorporate it with art. Try and just do it whatever I'm good at, whatever I want to show, and then I try to do 2 videos of just me doing whatever, just any idea that popped in my head, and then I do 2 videos on just my tablet, like just drawing, and a lot of those videos didn't blow up, but 2 of them did, and that's how I got the majority of my followers, and is because they saw that one video and it put the spotlight on me, and now all those people, they see my other stuff and they're part of my awesome community. You guys are the best, by the way, if you're listening to this, and if you're not listening to this, you're still the best. um, but you just got to get out there and make stuff, set yourself goals, be like, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this. You set yourself out to accomplish things, not necessarily hit numbers. Hitting numbers can be a very dangerous game, especially with something as volatile as social media and content creation.
Right, because sometimes we define ourselves by the numbers, and like I've done that a lot, especially lately too, where I feel like I'm putting in the effort, like what the heck, like I am growing, but like that's kind of the irony of it. It's like you get to the point where you're in the cycle of looking for bigger numbers or hitting your goals of like a number or something that you set, and then when you don't hit it, you're like, oh no, it's not working. But it's like you look at the numbers and you're like, it's still going up though. It's just you kind of have to wait out the because there's waves of increase and influx in followers and in success and just general, but you have to wait out the times where there's not like a huge wave at the moment. But it's just like pushing through that, and eventually you're gonna have that one day that it's gonna happen. But it is kind of it's really frustrating though, because you have to wait it out, and you just don't know if or when it's gonna happen. Or I guess I should erase if, but it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time as long as you're consistent. And yeah, like it's just funny because like I do the same thing, and I have to look at the positives and be like, hey, like yeah, things aren't going like great right now, but like last week I had a viral video or something, and I just have to keep pushing through with that, because eventually if you end up being successful, they get the most successful people get like a really big chunk of views per video, and it's very consistent. And so when you're starting out, it's very inconsistent. You might have like a view on a TikTok versus a week from now you'll have like 100 views, or maybe one week you'll get like 8,000 views. You never know. And that's just kind of like the deal of the game, is just you have to like not get yourself psyched out and realize that there's a reality to it, but that there's also like you're pursuing a dream. So what you're trying to do is move towards that dream. And so I think I guess like another added thing is that when you set goals, you kind of have to do think about long term, but I think when you're starting off, just think about the general, like this is what I think I want to do, because that might change over time. Like, oh, I want to do this or whatever. And so you'll start off like, okay, well, I'm going to pursue this, but I'm not going to think about like the big picture stuff. I'm just going to think about, because I already thought about that. I know the direction I need to go. So just focus on the direction and just make the small little things you can today. And then, eventually you'll be able to reassess and keep increasing that, or doing other things that lead to that end desired goal. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and sometimes you're like your big picture. So like me, for initially on TikTok, is I was like, oh, I want to do all art stuff, but then I did a video on enamel pins and how to create them, because I sell enamel pins, tuxpins.com. That's our very first ad.
Thank
I
you,
sell enamel
sponsors.
pins.
Just kidding, we don't have sponsors. It's the first podcast.
But I started doing a how to make enamel pins, and that kind of blew up. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can gear my content more to this, because this is what people like. And I'm not saying necessarily make yourself what people want to see of you. always make sure you're having fun with content. Make sure you're loving what you do. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like making content, but you want to be like famous or something, or you want this and that, like then it's maybe not for you, and maybe you should look elsewhere. Because if you're just looking for the fame, or you're just looking for the numbers, or you're just looking to gain clout or something, then and you don't enjoy the actual process of making it, then content creation is likely not for you. Because I know I really enjoy the aspect of content creation, of making stuff and interacting with people that I wouldn't have otherwise. Because growing up, I felt like a pretty lonely kid, and with not too many people to talk to about art and the things that I like. And so that's my favorite aspect of content creation, is finding like-minded people and making things that are helpful for them, that would have been helpful for me when I was at their position.
Right.
So I wanna help the next generation of artists, the next generation of content creators, the next generation of whatever. And I think that's going to be one huge thing that I want to put into the podcast, and I put into my own content.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of this stuff, honestly, to me, I've been kind of pursuing some of this stuff for a long time, but it's like, I feel like a lot of this stuff recently is just, like, this year, everything fell into my lap. Like, I met you, and, like, all this stuff started happening, so I think, I realized when I was focused on YouTube, I was all about, like, me, I want to produce stuff, and then I want to, I'll produce, like, maybe tutorials to help other people, because that gets views and stuff, but then, when I got on Twitch, I started to realize the Twitch community and how awesome it was. And, same on TikTok recently, where I realized I'm like, if I actually try to, like, teach, or I try to, like, share what I know, and, not be the quote unquote gatekeeper, as people are calling them, people that, like, reserve information or insider info, and they won't tell you.
Despise gatekeepers. Gatekeepers
Yeah.
can stop what they're doing and get out of here.
Yeah, and so
If I have an opportunity to stop a gatekeeper, I will stop a gatekeeper and explain. That's what my whole enamel pin series on TikTok was about.
Oh yeah. And
Get that out of here.
And so, like, I realized that, helping other people is maybe part of what I'm supposed to do. Like, I do enjoy making my own content and stuff, but then I have to realize, like, if I want to grow at all, or if I want to, like, build, like, a community, it has to be transparent, and it has to be, like, to a point where they can feel like they learn something from me from watching, because there has to be value to what content you're doing. Not to overcomplicate it. Like, make what you can, make what you're happy with. Don't think too much about it. But at the same time, eventually, when you kind of start to really think about the analytical and, like, like realistic point of content creation, is you do have to provide some sort of value to your audience, because if you don't, then why are they there? Like, yes, you can be an awesome personality, or funny, or entertaining, but that is your value. Like, you are entertaining. And, I think me and Lincoln can both agree, like, we both feel like we can be entertaining people, but at the same time, it's like part of our value is, like, being able to help other people. And I think this podcast perfectly fits within that realm of helping people. And, I think it just kind of encapsulates what we both have learned from making content, is like, hey, let's help other people. And, also, we're also always learning, even if you are a professional or whatever, you are always learning new skills, and you're learning new mindsets and things to help you progress even further. And I think for us, the podcast not only helps, the listeners, but also is going to help us in our journey as well. Be it that I feel like we've already started our journey. So, I mean, I feel like we're just at the, maybe the second step of our journey, because starting is number one. Number two is, like, kind of getting in a rhythm. I think we're kind of getting into a rhythm right now. But,
you got to keep it up.
Yeah, we got to keep it up. And I think this podcast is going to, like, encapsulate and, have a recording of, like, our progress from step one, or step two, I guess you could call it, or whatever.
We're at the beginning of step two.
Yeah, beginning of step two, and showing us, I mean, honestly, I feel like we're both going to make it, and I think it's going to be fine, because I feel like it's what we're supposed to do. But we're eventually going to make it to that point and be able to be like, hey, like, this whole process was transparent. Like, we weren't very far into our journey when we started the podcast. So, people can always go back and listen to everything, and, maybe take what they learned, like, oh, this was an old podcast, but we can learn from this, and then, you see where we are now. And I think it's just a good reminder for us to, if we ever do listen back to things, that we'll realize, where we came from, and remember things clearly, rather than, like you said, the clouded memory when you get so big that you're like, oh, I forgot how I got here. LOL.
Yeah. I don't want to be sitting on the mountain with sunglasses on, looking down on everybody. I want to have the same feeling of camaraderie and community when I grow, whether it's 1,000 more followers or whether it's 10,000 more followers or however many more people decide that they like to watch me draw and such. But that's kind of our goals and everything for the podcast, and we hope that you guys, you listening, if you're here first, word up.
Yeah, what's up? First, comment first or something. I don't know.
Yeah, comment first.
That's a TikTok thing, right? Or is that?
I think
it
that's
came
just
from-
an internet thing.
Yeah, it's like a TikTok thing. I don't know why. I haven't seen it anywhere else but TikTok. And I was like, all right, cool. This is fun.
But we hope that you can find value, and thank you so much for listening. And we're so excited to see you guys next week. We're hoping to get some guests on. Not necessarily next week. We don't have any scheduled guests yet, but work on it. And we're going to have some good times, guys. So thank you so much for listening.
Oh,
You got
yeah.
anything else left to say, Zach?
Yeah, just thank you guys for listening. And if you guys are just first tuning in, like, thank you so much for supporting, whether you support both of us or just one of us. Like, you can have favorites. It's fine. But
My favorite is Zach.
thanks. But yeah, thank you so much for the support. It's because of you guys that, like, we're really trying to pursue this, because we realize that there is some value to what we're doing, and so we're trying to increase that value so we can, continue growing and helping other people too. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, this is all an ongoing thing, so forgive us for any imperfections in the podcast, but we're hoping to eventually grow this thing out if it's well received. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it, and it entertains you throughout your day if you're bored or something.
We'll see you next week. Shout out to my Discord server. You guys are the best. I love you all. Bye.
No, my Discord server is the best. No, yeah. Anyway, goodbye, guys.